An African proverb says, "The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel the warmth." What time in your life have you been closest to starting the fire? 1. I didn't grow up with the best family. There was a long period of time when there was constant fighting, and things often went too far. I didn't feel safe in many different ways. It all culminated at a point when I was 17, disowned, and about to get kicked out. But my vindictive, defensive actions in the past made my mother know that kicking me out wasn't a good idea. I know the only reason I could have a roof over my head was because my mom isn't a citizen, and she knew I would have reported her for the crime of child abuse, which would have put her residency in jeopardy. So, I had to threaten to burn the village to feel the warmth of safety. 2. I had a coworker at a non-commission-based retail job who would repeatedly sabotage my sales so she could get a lot of credit apps and a high GSP. She would overhear my pitch for cards and then lie to the customer so they would apply. I would have to rectify what she said while she hovered over me. She did many other questionable things, and I reported her multiple times, as did my coworkers. Now, one time I got lucky. An 18-year-old kid came in to buy the most expensive desktop we have on display, $2,500. She saw me do this sale, but I needed a manager to approve a tiny discount. But my radio was dead. The coworker watched me the entire time, so I asked if she'd call for the manager. She is stone cold and ignores me. I go for the manager. She prints out paperwork on the computer and tries to sell it to him. When I returned, she yelled at me in front of the customer to give her the sale because she worked too. I ignored her and didn't give her the sale. When I reported this, as did the customer, he was mortified. I was told by my boss, ignore when she does that. She's a middle child, so she does stuff like that. I was tired of the stupid lack of action, so I filed an HR complaint regarding her, and 5 of my managers for not addressing it. They all got rewarded for it. Only one is still in management. The rest were eventually demoted or laid off. 3. I used to work in fast food, and was the only person in the store that didn't smoke. Everyone else got to take a break to smoke, but since I didn't smoke, I wasn't allowed to. Eventually, I spoke to the owner about it and was rebuffed, so I went over their heads to the company board. The owner got his ass chewed out for rebuffing me, and I wound up getting a huge bonus on my next paycheck. But when they discovered I reported them, I got fired immediately. Turns out they'd been violating company policy in food prep and storage, so I filed another report to corporate. Store got shut down for months and my former boss got fined 6 figures. 4. My dad didn't seem to take any interest in my life since I was 4 then, when my mom left him, and I told him I was going to leave. He proceeded to do everything to get me to live with him, buying me stuff, telling me mom isn't a fit parent, trying to get custody in court. I decided to live with him because I was too scared to start a new school midway through the year. He then dates this woman who is pretty much the catalyst in destroying their marriage and gets mad at me when I don't treat her like a mother. Mom is now trying to get custody, and I would burn his house to the ground if it meant she would win. 5. The wife was a senior staff for a local science fiction convention. Not only was she an unpaid volunteer, she had to take a vacation day off work and pay for her hotel room and parking. On the morning that the convention started, she was setting up the first of the 3 rooms she was responsible for: manual labor, moving tables, setting up shelves, and loading them with stuff. And somebody came in, took her ID badge off her desk, and brought it to the convention's lost and found. Convention LF lady told the wife that lost badges have a $5 fee to get them back. The wife looked at the badge, looked at her, and said, "Keep it. I'm going home. Have a nice convention." The wife was about 25 feet down the hall when the LF lady caught up to her and returned her badge. 6. Oh man. Middle school for me. I was heavily bullied at school, mentally and physically. I wasn't getting any support at home or felt like I was. I was not in a good place then. I had so many negative thoughts of hurting others and myself. I did it up in a psych ward, and man, those places are terrible. I didn't get any help but only learned to bottle my poop up more. 7. Moved to a new town and started going to a new church when dad got cancer. Went to church and told the pastor to try and get advice. Pastor announced this to the convocation and told everyone that some lady's horse was sick. Watched the entire convocation console this lady about her sick horse. The convocation was in tears about some sick horse while my dad was dying. No one said a word to my family. Never been to church since. 8. When I had been bullied constantly in 7th grade by 3 different kids/groups of kids and the school showed so little interest in helping me. I was physically bullied, verbally mocked, humiliated in front of the other kids, and I was batted. When I finally took my mom's advice to make a scene the next time someone started throwing things at me, I did it. We were outside that day for PE while we were all sitting in lines at the start of class. A kid next to me started throwing pebbles at me. I ignored it for a moment, and when he kept going, I yelled at him to stop. I didn't care that people were staring. I wanted them to. I wanted them to see that this average height, able-bodied boy was throwing things at me, a very small and disabled girl. The teacher came over and asked what happened. The kid told him they were only pebbles. He wasn't hurting me. The teacher agreed with him and told me I would get detention if I ever disrupted his class like that again. I don't know what it is about some teachers, but the second they get put in charge of more than one child, they become blind to any kind of bullying, and if it gets pointed out to them, they think that particular incident exists in a vacuum and couldn't possibly be a sign of anything worse. I was 11 years old and sewer-slidle because I felt so incredibly powerless. That teacher only solidified that feeling. 9. When I was a kid, my dad used to beat on me pretty often. When he was sober, I usually did something to deserve it. When he wasn't, it was just go time. One night he got drunk, and when I got home from a girlfriend's place he cornered me and put a revolver to my head. He told me how worthless I was and that he would be doing me a favor by deleting me. I didn't respond. I didn't move. I just waited for him to pull the trigger. He didn't. He left my room and left the revolver on my dresser as he walked out. I took the revolver and went out. I walked around my hometown, Sat by the river and thought about how to get back at him for all the misery he caused my mother, sister, and I. I also considered doing the old Kurt Cobain, but that's not relevant. I took the weapon apart and threw its pieces in the river. No one's asked me about the gun since. It's probably still there. 10. Working in public accounting as an auditor. 65-plus-hour weeks. Getting yelled at by clients for things that aren't your fault. Getting chewed out by your manager for being over/under budgeted hours for a client. Staying in hotels 5 days a week during the busy season. Eating poorly because you never had time to cook. One of the best days of my life was when I got laid off from that place, which opened the door for a great opportunity with none of the issues listed above.